Have you ever wondered how you could open files, how you could read from files, how you can append to a files in Python? If you've ever wondered, you're in luck because today is day 9 and I would be talking about everything file opening, writing, and appending. So if this is what you're interested in, come along. And my name is Funaya, by the way, to the screen. Welcome to day 9 of programming. Today we will be talking about opening files. I'm sure you have heard of it, or if this is your first time, it is possible to open a TXT file, a CSV file, an Excel file, or even an image. It is possible for you to open these files in Python and manipulate. That is, you can delete from a file, you can append to a file, you can create files in Python. And today I would be showing you how you can open an existing file, how you can print out its content, how you can append it, how you can write to a new file. So file handling is essential when you're reading data from a file, when you're writing or appending data to file, or when you're managing data. So how do you do this? You use the open function. The open function is used to open a file and it returns a file object which allows you to read from that file or write to that file. So this is like a simple way to do that. You write open and then the file name and then the mode. If the file you want to open is in the same directory as your Jupyter notebook, it will be easier to open. Otherwise, you would have to write the file path so it knows where to fetch the file from. And then for the mode, there are different modes that you can use. These are examples of the common mode. If you put R here, that means you want to read the file. Opens the file for reading. And then the file must exist. If the file doesn't exist, then you will get an error. And the file does exist, maybe you are using the wrong file path, and then you can correct that, and then your file would open correctly. Then we have the W mode, which is the write mode. So it opens a file for writing and it overwrites if the file already exists, or it creates a new file if it doesn't. And then the A mode, which is the append mode. It opens a file for appending, so new data are added to the end. And we have the X mode, which is exclusive creation. It opens a file for exclusive creation and it fails if the file already exists. Then we have the binary mode, which is used for binary files, that is your JPEG, your PNG, and so on. And then we have the text mode, which opens a file for reading and writing into a text format. So now let me show you a simple way to open our file to read from it. So I've already created an example.txt file. This is our sample file. This is a sample file, this is the sample file, and again, sample file here. So now I want to print out the content of my example.txt file. And when I run this, you see it prints out the content that you saw earlier, that this is a sample file. And then the explanation, file.read will read the entire content as a single string, while file.close closes the file after reading to free up the system resources. Whenever you use just open like this, you have to close the file. I will show you later a way that you would not need to necessarily write close this file.close when you use with open. We'll go down that later. But for now, we have our file. We want to open it in read mode. Read mode is this. We just want to read the content of the file. And then we use file.read to read the content, and then we print out the content, and then we close our file. So what if we want to read the file line by line by using a loop or a readline method? There are cases where you might want to read your files line by line. So then I'll put my file here. I want to read my file in read mode. So you have your for loop that for every line in the file, I want to print line, and I want to remove the new character so everything appears on the same line. And if I run this, oh, my file is not available. Let us use our example, the txt that we created. And then when I run this, you see, we read each line one by one and then we print it out. We remove our new line characters and then we close the file. So if there are new line characters inside the file, it removes it and then it closes the file. So by using strip, you're removing extra white space, new characters, new line characters, and you're making your output cleaner. So we also have another method. We've used file.read. We also have readlines. Readline method reads all the lines in your file and returns them as a list. So we're going to use our same file here. We'll open it in the read mode. And as always, you always have to close your file. I feel like immediately you type this, you have to specify, you have to put your close file so you do not forget. And then we want to read all the lines of the file. See, we currently have 3 lines in our file. We want to read them and return them as a list. So I want to show you the difference. So see, first we open our file, which is our example.txt file. And we want, instead of using file.read, we want file.readlines because we want to see all of them in the list. And then I'm then showing you how it will look like normally without it being read into a list. So let's see the first one. So see, this is how it would look like. So now you would see what strip is really doing here, because see, it is written like this in a list. And then with the strip, we remove the spaces, we remove the new line characters, and we print it exactly how it looks like in our file. So if you want, there are instances where you might need your file, the content of your file to be in a list, you use file.readlines. But when you do not want that, you want to remove extra space, extra new line character, you use your strip, which would remove space, new line character, and it makes your output cleaner. You see, this output is more cleaner than the first one. So now we've talked about reading from a file. What if you want to write into a file? We want to write into a brand new file that we have not created. So see, I have this. We'll use the same file equals to open, and see, our mode this time is W, because like I said earlier, W is the write mode. It opens a file for writing. And if that file, you have to be careful and check if that file doesn't already exist, because if it does exist before, it will overwrite the existing file. So this is what we have. So then we want to write our data. How do we open our file? We use file.readlines, and then to now write into the file, we use file.write. So see, I'm putting this character because I want my next sentence to go to the next line. And as always, you close your file. So when I run this and it's done, it has written the file. And then if I open output, let me open, and here we have the content of the file, hello world, and then this is a new line because we put our new line character there. So this is the way to write to a file. So file.write, write a string into a file, and note that it would not add a new line automatically. So if you want to have multiple new lines, you have to add the new line manually to your file. So then let's append to a file. So we've already created a file. Let's now append to it. And by appending, remember that we said R is for read, W is for write, then A is for append. So this is what you do if you want to append to a file. So the same file that we created, the output.txt, but now we're not writing into it. We don't want to overwrite it. We want to append to the file. So our mode would then be A and not W, and we'll still use the file.write. This line is appended, and then we put our new line symbol, and as always, close the file. So then when I run this, it's done, and then when I open the output file, let me open output file, we have it there that this line is appended. Know that I've been saying that you always have to add the file close so you don't forget to close your file. So now there's like an easy way to do this so you don't have to add file close, and that is by using the with statement. So for everything we've done so far, if we add the with, we don't need to close the file. So let me show you an example. Let's open the output.txt file that we're working on, and let us read the content of the file. And this file would automatically close at the end of the block. So you see, this is the content of what we have on the file, and we do not need to have a file.close, because by adding with, just this 4-letter word, it closes the file at the end. It automatically handles file closing. So I think finally what we want to work on is the binary files, because I said we can read files in binary. We can read using the RB binary mode. So this is what we have. We have a photo, and then we have the binary data. So we have file.read, and then this is the binary data of that photo. So RB opens the file in read binary. So we're combining R which is read, and then B which is binary. So we are reading binary. And then WB opens the file in write binary. So we have read binary. We're combining two modes, R and B, and W and B. So I said that the file must exist if you want to write it, and if you want to write it. If it doesn't exist, it will create a new one, or it will overwrite an existing one. So see now, how do you do it so you don't get an error? Because see, if I had 4 here, for example, I will get an error because that file doesn't exist. So instead of getting an error and then causing your whole system to stop, because imagine you're working on 1,500 lines of code, and instead of the thing failing when the file doesn't exist, you can use a try and except. So in the next video, that is Day-10 video, I will be talking about handling exceptions. So using try and except. So we see that the error that we got here, it's a file not found error. So with try, we can estimate like, oh, if this file doesn't exist, the error we get would be this. So we want it to accept this error instead of it getting this error and crashing and like breaking the entire function. We want you to print out that the file doesn't exist, and then you check the file name. So like that, your system still continues to run, but then you get like a notification, a message that that file doesn't exist, and then check the file name. So when you run this, you see this is what you get. So check out the next video where I'll be talking about exception handling. And these are some practice questions that you can try. Leave your solution in the comment section. As usual, this Jupyter notebook would be available in GitHub. That's it for this video. Do not forget to like, to subscribe, to share, and to leave a comment. And the link to the notebook that we worked on is available in my GitHub. Link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you tomorrow.